Chancellor Suarez Orozco, I have the honor to present to you Mayor Michelle Wu to receive the Chancellor's Medal for Distinguished Service.
Michelle Wu, you are the first woman, first person of color, first Asian American ever elected to serve as mayor of Boston. Your story as a daughter of Taiwanese immigrants who attended public schools, graduated from Harvard University and Harvard Law School, and subsequently embraced opportunities to give back in the public sector through public service, resonates deeply here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, the third most diverse university campus in our country. Your life experiences reflect a deep and abiding trust in the power of education to transform lives and empower immigrant, minority, and historically underrepresented communities. As a Boston City Councilor, you were the lead sponsor of Boston's paid parental leave ordinance and health care equity ordinance, prohibiting discrimination based on gender identity, both of which passed and were signed into law. You authored Boston's Communication Access Ordinance, which guarantees translation, interpretation, and assistive technology for access to city services, regardless of English language proficiency or communications disability. You are a role model for young people from all backgrounds who wish to contribute, to dedicate themselves to the public good and strengthen civic culture in and around Boston. Your inclusive vision and the citywide coalitions you have built stand as a national model for citizen engagement in politics and public policy. And your vision of sweeping generational change in addressing critical important issues on the city's agenda, like unchecked climate change, education, inequality, and housing, continues to inspire people across Boston, across our nation. Your election marks a turning point in Boston's history as a municipality that chooses wise, talented leaders from among all its citizens. That all may appreciate your lifelong contributions to public service and embrace your fierce belief that we can solve our deepest challenges by building community. The University of Massachusetts Boston is honored to confer upon you the Honorable Michelle Wu, Mayor of Boston, the Chancellor's Medal for Distinguished Service. And now, with our 2022 commencement address, please welcome the Honorable Mayor Michelle Wu.
There's a lot of people here. Good afternoon, class of 2022. Thank you, Chancellor Suarez Orozco, for that incredible introduction. I'd love to take you on the road with me wherever I go. Thank you for reminding us of the power and importance of an engaged and purposeful civility. I want to thank Savannah for that beautiful performance of the national anthem. I want to echo the thanks and recognition for Trustee Burns and Bates, members of the board, Provost Berger, and all of the administration, faculty, and staff who are here today. And thank you, MG, for your warm leadership, for your fierce courage, and in advance for all that you will do for our city and our Commonwealth. I want to thank the parents and grandparents, guardians and caregivers, siblings and children, all the family and friends who are here with us this afternoon. And I'm so excited to be here in person celebrating with you all. As the Chancellor said, there is no question that today our world and our city needs leaders like you. Leaders who hold the talents and skills instilled in you by this institution, and now part of this legacy connected to our city. At the commencement ceremony more than 50 years ago, then Chancellor Francis Broderick said this school had a, quote, obligation to the city from the beginning. He talked about the university as a pioneering place, offering classes to communities traditionally shut out of higher education, well before many of the peer institutions. And he talked about the resilience of the students who are balancing full-time jobs, braving long commutes, and navigating the never-ending construction on campus. Some things never change, but 50 years later, the construction that is back reflects an incredible transformation. This place has gone from Boston's best-kept secret to a public research university that remains committed to its community while being renowned across the country. Today, UMass Boston is the most diverse public university in New England and the third most diverse in the nation. These changes, though, were not inevitable. Every new class of graduates has expanded the horizons, expanded the possibility, opening doors and widening paths for those following behind in your footsteps. From where you're sitting right now, some of you may have a very clear idea of where that path will lead next, but some of you might not. And that's why I'm here today, to serve as proof that you can go from having absolutely no idea what you want to do on graduation day to being mayor of the greatest city on the planet. I'm still new in this job. 6 months ago, I was sworn in as an unusual mayor of Boston. We are here in the birthplace of America and of our democracy. But until 6 months ago, in our city's nearly 400 years of history, we had never elected a person of color, or woman, or a mom as mayor. I grew up in an immigrant family, and politics was the last place anyone thought I would end up, including me. You see, my immigrant parents from Taiwan themselves were also children of immigrants. My grandparents fled mainland China in the midst of civil war, and our multi-generational immigrant history across my family was defined by politics. Politics that had created war, famine, and fear. All of us kids, blessed with the opportunities of growing up in this country after the sacrifices of generations before, we were supposed to work hard, keep our heads down, and steer clear of controversy. No politics. But when my mom was diagnosed with late-onset schizophrenia, all of our lives changed. I went from being a young professional, freshly graduated from college, to being primary caregiver to my mom and my little sisters, navigating the public school system, our healthcare system, opening a small business just to try to keep my family from falling apart. It was in these roles that I found myself forced to navigate the intricacies of government that our family had tried so hard to avoid. Systems that made us feel even more unseen and unheard. At the same time, it opened my eyes to the potential that each of us as individuals have to make a difference in reshaping these systems. But to be effective, we must bring our whole selves to that work. When I first ran for office over a decade ago, I was told over and over that it would be impossible because Boston didn't have a history of electing women or people of color or young people or people not born in Boston. And it was true. But because all those barriers were things I couldn't change about myself, and because I felt the urgency of changing systems that weren't working, I ran anyway and won. In my very first year on the council, I gave birth to my son, Blaze, who's now 7 years old, and became the first sitting elected city official in Boston to have a baby while in office. And that was as recent as 2014. At first, the pressure of balancing being a new counselor with being a new mom felt crushing. I tried to separate what I would do for work from what I would do as a mom. But not only did that turn out to be impossible, I realized that in trying to impose that restriction on myself, I was reinforcing the very barriers that continue to prevent working parents from taking on leadership roles. I was constructing a false and limiting divide between my professional life and my family life. And I realized that being a mom made me a better leader, living the challenges. I, like so many in our communities, know what it feels like to need to get around on our transit system with a big double stroller with 2 babies inside, navigating our school system and the many complexities that Boston Public Schools families face, confronting the growing and imminent threat of climate change with my kids' futures pushing me to move faster. There is nothing more powerful than embracing the radicalness of possibility grounded in the urgency of our communities. UMass Boston is a school that's deeply entwined with this city, famous for being first and fearless and embracing radical possibilities. Boston is home to the first public park, first public school, first trade school, first public transit system in the country. But before they were first that we were proud of, these were just radical ideas that many people believed were impossible or even dangerous. People said we shouldn't dig tunnels for a subway system because we'd force all the bugs and snakes and vermin underground to the surface and they'd overtake the city. There was real concern at that time that if we built the Red Line and the tunnel between Park Street and Boylston, there would be snakes all over our streets, which, given the rat situation in some places, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing. But my point is, there will always be those who try to tell you what's impossible, what's dangerous and radical and impractical, what can't be done because it's never been done before. But at this moment in time, we need change too urgently not to try. We need more than thoughts and prayers and signs in windows and flags flown in solidarity. You are all resilient. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. But today, we need the kind of change that makes resilience against injustices obsolete. Because all of us deserve to not only feel safe in our homes and grocery stores and places of worship, safe in our own skin, we all deserve to thrive in our communities. We shouldn't have to be resilient against harm to our communities. We should insist that its sources be uprooted instead. And that requires real, systemic transformation. It requires the kinds of skills and knowledge that all of you have earned here. So, as you prepare to say goodbye to this place, to the noodles in the Beacon Cafe, the view from U-Haul of the sunlight dancing across the water on a bright spring day, the planes flying low over campus on their way into Logan, think about what you'll bring with you from here. The ideas that you debated in the classroom, at the cubicles on the third floor of the campus center, at the dinner table with your family. Think about the people who helped you get here, who are here celebrating with you today, who sacrificed alongside you, kept you accountable, and held you to a standard they knew you could meet. Think about the friends you've made, the friends you'll keep, the friends who are returning with you to communities we love and share. But most of all, think about what's possible for you and for all of us as you go out into your communities, bringing all your strength and skills and wonder, your love for this place and its people. Go out there and keep listening, keep thinking, then give that big, bold idea a try. Because we need leaders like you. I can't wait to see what you do. I'm cheering you on every step of the way. Good luck, thank you, and congratulations, class of 2022.